There is a word on jewelry tags that everybody trusts, and in the United States, it is not regulated at all: hypoallergenic. Legally, it means nothing. A manufacturer can print it on a nickel alloy, and thousands of them do. So today, 5 metals you should never buy in jewelry, 4 that will outlast you, and along the way, a metal that costs hundreds of dollars and treats your skin worse than $20 steel. One question decides this entire video, not what the piece looks like in the case. What touches your skin a year from now, after the surface you paid for has worn away. Let us start with the 5 to avoid, counting down to the worst. Number 5, bare brass and copper. The most honest bad metals on the list, because at least they do their damage in the open. Brass is copper and zinc. It looks convincingly like gold in a display case, it costs almost nothing, and it is everywhere in fashion jewelry. Copper is copper, currently having a moment as a wellness metal. Here's what both of them do. They oxidize against your skin. The sweat and oils on your body react with the copper, and the result is that famous green ring around a finger or green shadow on a neck. Understand what that green is, because it matters. It is not an allergic reaction, and it is not your body being strange. It is chemistry, the same reaction that turns copper roofs green, happening on you. Green skin washes off and harms nothing. The problem is what it tells you. A metal that reacts to sweat is a metal that is actively corroding while you wear it, which means the piece is changing color, dulling, and pitting on a schedule measured in months. One practical note if brass is already in your life. The green transfers less when the metal is sealed from your skin, so a coat of clear nail polish on the inside of a brass ring is the oldest trick in costume jewelry, and it genuinely works for a while. It also tells you everything, because no one has ever needed to paint the inside of a gold ring. The one defense of brass is honesty. When it is sold as brass, styled as brass, and priced as brass, fine, enjoy it, and expect the patina. The crime is brass wearing a gold costume at a gold adjacent price, and that costume is our next entry. Number 4, mystery plating. Now the most common trap in all of jewelry retail, and the trap is a single missing word. Gold plated tells you what is on the surface. It tells you nothing about what is underneath, and underneath is where you will be living in a year. Because standard gold plating on fashion jewelry is somewhere between 0.5 micron and 1 micron thick. That is not a layer, that is a rumor of a layer, and friction removes it from the wear points in roughly 6 to 18 months of regular wear. Then the base metal comes through, and on cheap plated jewelry, the base is brass, copper, or an alloy containing nickel, which is the exact metal weighting at number 1 on this list. Here is the rule, and it sorts the entire plated market in 5 seconds. The question is never whether it is plated. The question is plated over what? Gold over sterling silver, which is called vermeil and legally requires a thicker coating, wears down to silver, which is fine. Gold over titanium or steel wears down to something inert. Gold over unnamed base metal wears down to a mystery, and the mystery is usually the cheapest reactive alloy available. If the listing does not name the base metal, that silence is the answer. We covered the vermeil versus plated distinction in the brands video, and it is the difference between jewelry that ages and jewelry that expires. And learn the timeline, because it is the honest cost of plated jewelry. Standard thin plating over brass survives 6 to 18 months of regular wear. Proper vermeil, which is a legally defined thickness of gold over sterling, runs 2 to 5 years with care. Neither is forever, and neither pretends to be. The pretending happens at the counter, in the price. Number 3, generic stainless steel and costume alloys. Here is where it gets counterintuitive, because stainless steel has a clean, medical, trustworthy reputation. And the reputation belongs to one specific version of it, not to the words on the tag. The standard stainless steel used in cheap jewelry, grade 316, contains around 11% nickel. It is bound tightly into the alloy, which is why plenty of people wear it with no trouble at all, but it is genuinely there, and for sensitive skin, it leaks enough to matter. The version with the medical reputation is 316L, surgical grade, lower in release, and even that is not the safest option for genuinely reactive skin. And below generic steel sits the true floor of the market. Unmarked costume alloys, the mystery metal of festival jewelry, market stalls, and ultra-cheap online hauls. Testing of that category has repeatedly found not just nickel, but lead and cadmium, which are not allergy problems, they are toxicity problems, and they belong nowhere near skin, and especially nowhere near children. The rule for this tier is simple. A metal that will touch your body needs a name, a specific one. Steel is not a name. Silver tone is not a name. If the material line on the listing is a vibe rather than an alloy, you are the quality control. And one specific surprise from this tier, because it wears a premium reputation. Tungsten carbide rings, marketed as indestructible men's jewelry, are sometimes made with a nickel binder holding the tungsten together. Most wearers never notice. A sensitist few discover that their indestructible ring is the one thing in the drawer they cannot wear. The lesson is the same one this whole tier teaches. Reputation belongs to specific grades, never to categories. Number 2. White gold below 18 karat. And now the entry that surprises people the most, because it wears a luxury name and a luxury price. White gold is not a metal. It is yellow gold bleached by alloying, and here's the part almost nobody tells you at the counter. In a very large share of white gold below 18 karat, the bleaching metal is nickel, the most common allergy metal in the world, sitting inside a ring that costs hundreds of dollars, wearing a name that sounds like the opposite of cheap. For most people, it never matters. For the roughly 1 in 5 to 1 in 6 people with nickel sensitivity, it matters enormously. And the cruel part is the disguise. The ring is plated in rhodium when new, so the nickel is sealed away, and everything is fine. Then the rhodium wears through, which it always does, the nickel alloy reaches skin, and a person develops a reaction to their own wedding ring and cannot understand why, because it is real gold, and real gold is supposed to be safe. If you have ever reacted to jewelry, the questions to ask before buying white gold are exact. Is this alloyed with nickel or with palladium? Palladium white gold costs more and exists precisely for this reason. And when the answer is a shrug, treat the shrug as a yes. There is one more place this hides, and it is worth 30 seconds. Earring posts. A piece can be honestly described: brass, plated, fashion alloy, and the post that actually goes through your ear is a separate component the listing never mentions. On good budget jewelry, the posts are titanium or surgical steel, and the maker says so proudly. On bad jewelry, the post is the cheapest wire in the factory. If the listing brags about the post metal, that is a good sign. If the post is unmentioned, assume it matches the price. Real gold, real receipt, real problem. That is why it sits at number 2. Number 1, anything nickel plated. And here's the floor. The single worst thing you can put through a piercing or against sensitive skin, and one of the most common materials in cheap jewelry on earth. The numbers on nickel are not opinions, they are dermatology. Nickel is among the most common causes of allergic contact dermatitis, with sensitivity affecting roughly 18% of people in North America, and clinical work on sensitized individuals shows the overwhelming majority react to nickel-plated jewelry within about 48 hours of contact. Itching, redness, weeping skin at the exact outline of the piece. And nickel plating is the worst format nickel comes in, because the allergen is not buried in an alloy where it leaches slowly. It is the surface itself. Nothing has to wear off first. Earrings are the worst case of the worst case, because a piercing takes the metal past the skin barrier entirely. One more thing, and it closes the loop on the hook of this video. Nickel sensitivity is frequently acquired. People are not born reacting to it, they become sensitized through exposure, most often through cheap earrings worn young. Which means every year of wearing this stuff is not just a rash risk today, it is a subscription to reacting for the rest of your life. Europe restricts how much nickel jewelry may release. The United States does not, and the word hypoallergenic fills that gap with marketing. Now you know why it sits on so many tags, and why it means so little. That is the 5 to avoid. Now the 4 that go the other way, counting up to the king, and the theme of all 4 is the same. Nothing to wear off, nothing to reveal, nothing to react to. Number 4, sterling silver. The entry level of forever, and the cheapest real metal on this list. Sterling is 92.5% silver, marked 925, and the balance is mostly copper, there for strength. It is nickel-free by standard, gentle on the great majority of skin, and it is solid, which is the entire point of this half of the video. Scratch it, wear it, polish it thin over 40 years, and it is still silver all the way down. There is no reveal coming, because there is nothing underneath. Its famous flaw is the strongest evidence for it. Sterling tarnishes, going gold, then brown, then black, and people read that as the metal being cheap. It is the opposite, and we did a whole video on this. Real silver tarnishes evenly and wipes clean, because tarnish is a surface film on solid metal. Plated pieces fail in patches and show yellow underneath. The thing everyone complains about is the authentication. 2 honest limits. The copper content means a small number of very sensitive people still react to sterling, and it is soft, so a sterling ring worn daily will show its life. For everything else, it is the best value and honest metal that exists. One upgrade inside this entry. Argentium silver, a modern sterling variant alloyed with germanium, tarnishes dramatically slower and is brighter out of the box, and it exists for people who love silver and hate the cloth. It costs slightly more, it is still solid silver all the way through, and it is worth knowing the name. Number 3, solid gold, 14 karat and up. The classic answer, and the reason it is the classic answer. Solid gold means the alloy goes all the way through. 14 karat is 58.5% gold, 18 karat is 75, and the higher the carat, the less room there is for anything reactive in the mix. Pure gold itself is about as inert against skin as a metal can be. It does not oxidize, it does not tarnish, It does not react with sweat, which is why gold jewelry comes out of ancient tombs looking mildly pleased with itself. The practical trade is carat versus toughness. 14 karat is harder and shrugs off daily wear, and its larger alloy share is why sensitive individuals sometimes do better at 18, where there is simply less of everything else. 18 is softer and richer in color. Both are lifetime metals. Below 14, the gold minority starts losing the argument to the alloy, and at the bottom of the carat range, you are mostly buying the other metals with a gold accent. Yellow gold, note, not white. Yellow 18 karat is one of the metal's dermatology points sensitive people toward. White gold, as we established at number 2, depends entirely on what did the bleaching, and that single question is the difference between this half of the video and the other one. And here's the arithmetic that makes solid gold rational rather than indulgent. A plated piece at $40 replaced every year for a decade is $400 spent on jewelry you never actually owned, because every version of it expired. A modest solid gold piece bought once holds its metal value for that entire decade and beyond, and gold has spent recent years at record prices, up dramatically, which we covered in the broken jewelry video. Solid is not the expensive option. It is the option where the money stays yours. Number 2, titanium. Now the metal that came from surgery rather than jewelry, and it shows in the best way. Implant-grade titanium is what goes inside human bodies, plates, screws, replacement joints, because the body simply does not argue with it. 0 nickel, biologically inert. In jewelry, that translates to a metal you can wear in the ocean, in a pool, through a workout, through a decade, and it will not corrode, tarnish, react, or care. It is also absurdly light for its strength, which people either love or need a day to get used to. For new piercings and genuinely reactive skin, implant-grade titanium is the standard answer, and it is not expensive, which makes it the quiet outlier of this half, forever performance without a forever price. Its cousin deserves one sentence, because for the most reactive skin on Earth, it is the final answer. Niobium, a metal so inert it is used in medical implants and so unreactive that dermatologists reach for it when even titanium is in doubt. It anodizes into beautiful colors without any coating, because the color is an oxide layer of the metal itself. Nothing added, nothing to peel. 2 honest limits. Titanium is so hard to work that a titanium ring essentially cannot be resized, so buy the right size, not the optimistic one. And the words matter, implant grade, or the specification on the listing, because titanium colored steel exists and is a completely different object. Number 1, platinum. And at the top, the king, for reasons that have nothing to do with prestige and everything to do with chemistry. Platinum in jewelry runs 90 to 95% pure, and the alloying metals used with it, ruthenium, iridium, cobalt, are chosen from the unreactive end of the periodic table. No nickel in the standard recipes. It does not tarnish. It does not oxidize. It is dense, heavy in the hand in a way people fall in love with, and it is naturally white, which is the quiet killer detail. Platinum is not plated white. It is white, all the way through, forever, with no rhodium subscription and no reveal coming. And it wears differently from everything else in this video. Gold loses metal when scratched. Platinum mostly displaces. The metal pushes aside rather than falling away, developing over years into a soft satin surface the trade calls patina, which collectors prize rather than polish off. The honest limits are 2. Price, it is the most expensive standard jewelry metal. And weight and softness of surface, it scratches into that patina faster than hard gold alloys, which is either the whole point or a deal breaker depending on who you are. How to know you are holding it. Platinum carries its own marks, 950 or 900, often with the letters PT or the word platinum spelled out, and the weight tells you before the stamp does, because platinum is dramatically denser than gold, and a platinum ring feels heavier than it looks. A white ring marked 750 is not platinum, it is 18 karat white gold, and now you know exactly which question to ask about it. But as an answer to the question this video asked at the start, what touches your skin in a year, platinum is the cleanest answer money can buy. In a year, in a decade, in a lifetime, the answer is platinum. Now the tag reading guide, because everything above collapses into a few words on a listing. Words that end the conversation. Gold tone, silver tone, which describe a color and promise nothing. Gold plated with no base metal named, because the silence is the answer. Hypoallergenic standing alone, which in the United States is decoration. And any listing where the material line is missing entirely, which is not an oversight, it is a choice. Words that earn trust. 925, solid 14 karat, solid 18 karat, vermeil with the base named implant grade titanium, niobium, platinum 950. Specific numbers, specific alloys, specific standards. Honest metal has a name and is proud of it. Mystery metal has a vibe. And one phrase that sits in between and needs decoding. Nickel free. In Europe, that phrase is backed by an actual directive limiting how much nickel a piece may release into skin, so on a European listing, it carries legal weight. On an American listing, it is a promise with no referee, better than silence, worth less than a named alloy. The same two words, two different continents, two completely different guarantees. Now the honest note, because this video is not a panic. Most people can wear most metals without any trouble at all. Green skin from copper is chemistry, not harm, and washes off. Generic steel is worn happily by millions. Nickel sensitivity is real and common, but it is not universal, and a person who has never reacted to anything has more freedom here than this list implies. The 5 to avoid are about what fails, what hides, and what you are actually paying for, not only about allergy. And there is a legitimate place in a jewelry box for the cheap stuff. A $10 festival piece you will wear twice, lose once, and never mourn is a perfectly rational purchase, and nobody needs platinum for a costume. The mistake this video is built against is narrower and more expensive. It is paying lasting money for expiring metal and wearing mystery alloys against skin every single day, through piercings, for years. Occasional and honest is fine. Daily and disguised is the trap. And the 4 that last are not a demand to spend more. Sterling silver is cheap. Titanium is cheap. The expensive part of this video is optional. The solid part is not. When real money is on the table, or skin that has reacted before, the answer is the same one this channel gives every week. A good independent jeweler will tell you exactly what an alloy contains, point you to palladium, white gold, or platinum if nickel is your enemy, and put it in writing on the receipt. Now tell me in the comments which metal got you. The ring that turned your finger green. The white gold that started itching when the plating wore through. The $20 titanium that outlasted everything expensive you own. I read every one, and the best stories on this channel always come out of the comments. This channel takes no sponsorships and no paid placements. No brand, no dealer, and no manufacturer pays to be praised or buried here. And that independence is the only reason I can tell you that the most trusted word on the tag is legally meaningless, and that a wedding ring can contain the most common allergy metal on Earth. If straight answers like this are why you keep coming back, the join button below makes you a member and keeps these breakdowns honest. Buy the metal, not the coating. The coating always leaves first. I will see you in the next one.